Hey everyone, so let's talk about the Lion piece from an artistic point of view. It's the first piece, so I was really kind of nervous at the start to see what it would turn out like, as it was sort of the debut piece for the YouTube channel. Um, but it worked out really well. The initial line work was not bad at all. The inking was going to be very interesting because I was going to be using an ink brush instead of just like a micron pen or any other form of India ink. And in retrospect, I could have gone back and painted it with watercolor, painted it black or something. But I really like ink. I like it a lot. And as I began to fill it in, I said, this it, it it needs life. It needs something different, more dynamic. And so instead of just filling it in, I began to do these little wiggly shapes to fill in these gaps. And it was wonderful. It brought everything together. It really formed a structure that I could build off of. And sure enough, I started to paint afterwards and fill in. And I had never worked with watercolor over ink. I was concerned that the ink, even though it said waterproof, was not going to be waterproof. And it wasn't. It was. I'll take it back. It was. But if you weren't careful, it began to bleed. So I guess it just has a certain threshold, a certain threshold of water before it starts to bleed a little bit. And I didn't tape this paper down. I just was excited and didn't really think about it beforehand. And so it worked a little bit. It buckled, but that's fine. It dried out, and once I pressed it in a frame, it smoothed itself out, which is great. But the colors I used, I thought of fire, I thought of flame, I thought of a dynamic, warming, life-giving source, and so I started doing reds and yellows and oranges. And I wanted to contrast that with a little bit of blue at the bottom. However, this is fairly abstract, and I needed some um, structure there, a little bit more structure. I had the outlines done, I had the boundaries done, but I needed people to be able to look at that and say, okay, there's an eye, there's a nose, there's a mouth, this is a lion. And so that's when the brush came in. That's when the marker, or the India ink marker brush came in, and I started to fill in those black solid lines that really sort of stand out pretty starkly against the white page and work really well with the red against it. So that was really nice. I chose to keep the eyeball white and fill it in with white paint instead of actually give it a pupil. I felt like that was very dramatic. I felt like that was very powerful. There is a lot of symbolism here. The red dripping down up front is obviously pretty reminiscent of like the blood of Christ, and it is a lion, which symbolizes courage, and the Lion of Judah and all that, as God is known, as Jesus is known by, and it's not terribly symbolic, to be honest. Nothing like that. I just wanted to create. I wanted to create a dynamic piece with watercolor and ink that tied the theme of my Take Courage video together, and this is what it came out to be. It's a wonderful ministry. I really really enjoy being able to paint and draw for you guys and talk about life in the process. It's wonderful. The original piece is up. This is a 8 by 11 paper set in an 11 by 17 glass frame, so it ends up looking really really nice. Everything's archival, which is wonderful. So over time it won't age, it won't lose its luster. And the paint splatters, I wanted something to show the looseness of this, and I had some paint runs and stuff, but splattering it was great. I mean, it really kind of adds some circles to all those lines and really evens out the dynamic expression of the piece, which is really really fun. I will do this again. I discover watercolor is difficult. You have to be very patient. You have to let it do its own thing. You can't really control it too much, which is hard to grasp at first, because you say, I want this specific thing, and then you start painting and it's like, no, instead you get this. But you have boundaries. That's why I blocked it off with ink first. I have these boundaries. I'm going and color it in, essentially, right? But I'm fairly new to watercolor, so it was an experience for sure, a wonderful experience. But yeah, this is the piece. There are canvas prints. The original piece is also available. Just hit me up on Instagram, where you could just straight up purchase it straight from the website itself. If you're a Patreon, you get a 10% discount on every purchase you make, no matter what. This is good forever. So that's awesome. I hope to have a new piece out by next week. It will be a flower piece. You can see the beginnings of it on my Instagram. It will be watercolor over ink, just like this one. I don't have a subject for the next video. Actually, I do. I sure do. Let me look it up really quick. I have it here on my phone, and it is, just to hype you up, get you excited. Let's see. Slow phone. The subject of this next video is do good. Just do good. That's the subject of the video. I'm not going to get too much into it today, but it just really kind of outlines the call of God in our lives, the benefits of what it means to love each other. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for taking the time to check me out. Like the button. Hit the like button if you like this video. If you want more, go ahead and subscribe if you want updates and notifications for when the next few videos come out. Support me on Patreon if you feel led to. Every little bit counts, and a little goes a long way for these videos, in terms of quality and in terms of just what I'm able to do. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for taking your time out to watch these videos. God bless.